Let's talk about simple swaps. So a simple swap is basically replacing a word with a different word so you can be more impactful and more intentional in what you're communicating. Additionally, a simple swap could be the way you phrase or position questions and sentences so that you can drive decisions faster and you can have more rich dialogue with the intended listener. In this case, let's use the customer as an example. I'm going to give you two scenarios in which you can go with option A or you can go with option B. One observation that I have a lot with business bankers when they're doing outreach and they're asking for the appointment, a lot of times they ask, are you available next week? So that is a close-ended question. What it does, it just draws out a response for them to either say yes or no. What's a better way to swap that with? Well, instead, you could say something like, when are you available next week? So using more of a open-ended question, like a what, where, when, how, why, or who, it's going to allow you and allow the listener to actually give you a more detailed response, and it allows you to narrow down what exactly you want to accomplish. Less questions, more open-ended. You can get down to the root of the answer. Another example I can give you is when you're done presenting a product or a service or just features or whatever you're trying to present to your listener and to your customer. At the end, typically what you ask the group is, do you have any questions? Again, another close-ended question, which leads to a yes or no. So it doesn't allow you to draw the feedback that you want. Instead, what you can ask is, what questions do you have? So my challenge to you here is for you to think of 2 or 3 questions. Listen to yourself when you're speaking to prospects or to customers. And are you catching yourself asking more close-ended questions? And if you were to change that to an open-ended question, starting it with a what, where, when, how, why, who, could that allow you to have a richer, more in-depth dialogue so that you can move that relationship forward with intent? Another thing I want to say about simple swaps and close-ended and open-ended questions. This goes back to the worst time to think about the thing you're going to say is in the moment you're going to say it. So I want you to really think about where and when you want to use a close-ended question. When will it be more impactful and effective? And then when and where do you want to use an open-ended question where you can create more richer dialogue? So there is no wrong answer for this. But what I want you to do in self-reflection is, have you caught yourself maybe asking close-ended questions in places where asking an open-ended question instead would have been more impactful? And vice versa. There are situations in conversations where you do have to ask a close-ended question, which does require a yes or a no or more limited types of options, because you do need to get narrower and more focused answers. And that is appropriate. But the most important thing is making sure when is the right moment to know how to ask, whether an open-ended or a close-ended question. So I leave you with that, some food for thought. Make sure you write down and start practicing before your next client conversation what kind of question you're going to ask and in what specific moment of that conversation so you can make it really count.